You're watching The Ready Writer, a show where I get to speak to writers of all different genres, mediums, and experiences. The Ready Writer. Are you ready? Hi, and welcome to another episode of The Ready Writer. I am your host, Casey Bell, and today we continue our interview we had with Crystal Daye with The Gold Mine. Let's get the show started. Okay, so my first question for you was becoming an author, a childhood dream of yours.
I would say yes and no. I say I know because I don't remember like sitting and okay, one day I'll be this big author or anything like that. Because the truth is, in my mind, that was for famous people or popular people. But I say yes because I think deep down I did have a desire to write, and I write a lot. And probably one day my writing will be able to touch somebody. But yeah, so that's why I say yes and no.
So when did you first decide to publish your first book?
So I started writing my first book in 2015, and that's after I had an encounter with God, and I felt like, I had a story to share, and I wanted to share that story. So I started to, write it in 2015, and, in praying about it, I live in Jamaica now. So in praying about it, it's like, okay, I want the right publisher, etc., preferably somebody international. And the book was published in August, on my birthday, August 18, 2016. While the book, it didn't really take very long to write. It took a process to write. So, but I initially started in 2015, but published in 2016.
And what was some of the things you learned about publishing and getting your book out there? Some of the lessons you learned.
One, uh, so in I didn't really understand. So a lot of things that I started to study online, they will talk about an email list, they talk about building a platform, and it took me a while to understand what some of those things, build a brand. I didn't understand those things because in Jamaica, when I started in 2015, 2016, those terms weren't popular. You didn't hear do anything like that regarding digital marketing. So, but I had a friend, she knew the online space, and she would say, hey, build an email list, and check out MailChimp. And so one, looking back now, I'm grateful that, she understood and she was able to say, hey, start building a platform. So start sharing your message. I started speaking. So things like that really help to get my book sold when it was actually published. Another thing I learned is that, don't try to be cheap in the process, because I know that, yes, with self-publishing, it can be tempting to, oh, I'm going to do this all by myself, but I'm so happy I didn't. While the publisher I worked with, I don't think that she was as helpful as she could be. But I also think that it works out on my behalf, because she wasn't as helpful, it forced me to go and study the process on my own, and know I'm publishing books for others. So I guess all things do work out for my good.
Awesome. So talk about your latest book, the title, and what it's about and the inspiration behind it.
So my latest book is Their Insecurity, was released in uh January 2021, and that's the one that I've been pushing. It's called Their Insecurity, a woman's guide to release self-doubt and activate her God-given gifts. Now, persons might say, why do you always write for women? And not that I can't write for men, but I do believe that, my mission, and, always think about niching women of faith. Those are the women that I build a platform around, and those are the women that I feel connect the most with my story. So the book is really to help other women of faith to say, hey, we all have insecurities. We all feel like we're not good enough in our area, but the truth is God has equipped you to go out there and to be the best that He has called you to be. So it's like activating. I would say it's an activator. That book is an activator. It gets women to start believing in them dreams and in themselves again.
How would you say, give us one thing that you did personally to activate your faith and to reignite, and some of the things that you suggest? How did you, was that something you were raised in, or did you have to learn how to do that?
So I would say, Was I raised? No, the truth is, I do remember my father has always kind of affirmed me to tell me, one day I'll do great things. One day, he's always saying that because I was very good. I did very well in school. So, persons that are bright, they always feel like, oh, you have a bright future. But when I became a Christian, what I found was that there were so many cultural and religious things that I've been taught about, who God is, and it made me feel like I'm not good enough. Oh, you didn't live a perfect life all your life. You fornicated, you were a sinner. So when I came into church, there was this continuous feeling of, oh, you're not good enough. So how did I learn to get over that? I think the biggest thing for me, and one of the main chapters in the book that I really, really love is to level up my faith. And this means, we use the word, Sarah song, level up, is really to say, hey, how can I upgrade my faith? And that for me look like reading more books and connecting with people that are where I desire to go. Because I grew up in the inner city in Jamaica. Around me were a lot of poverty, was a lot of, people go to bed hungry, we always don't have money, that kind of lack mindset I grew up with. And the truth is, if I didn't come out of that box and get exposed to other things, I would not know, it was possible for me to own my own home, or, to be able to travel all over the world and to be able to speak and build such a platform. So I think leveling up my faith included me connecting with the right persons, exposing myself to bigger knowledge, and also, of course, to take action on those things.
I like that you said that because that's something I've heard many times. If you want to change your life, change your surroundings, not just, the location, the people you're around. So what is a way, how did you find the people you found? How did you change your circle?
That's a great one. That's a great one. So the truth is, initially start with me and just reading blogs. So, people would say, oh, search for a mentor. We walk around trying to find, begging people to mentor us. But the truth is, you can be mentored through books, through courses. So in the initial stage, I wanted to build something outside of my geographical location here in the island. I felt like Jamaica was limited for the vision that I had. So it meant that I didn't want that level of mentorship here. I wanted it internationally. And of course, it's not as easy to connect with, these big people. So for me, it started with reading blogs. I read the blogs, and if the person that I love their blog about their books, or I went to their conferences. And what I found was that, like, for example, Elder Lindsay was one of the persons I would say was a blessing to me. When I attended her conference, what happened was that women that were seeking what I was seeking, to grow in the faith, etc. I met a lot of women in those spaces, right? And that also, so for me, also, just following social media, reading their posts, sometimes it's not so much about getting to talk to them one by one. It will happen eventually, but it took a process. And then what started to happen, the more I evolved, is the more I attracted women and my friends who were also evolving.
Cool. So tell us about, are you working on any books at the moment? Are you working on another book?
Yes. So what is very interesting, I actually wrote a book in the pandemic. It was 2021. I wrote a book, and it's called Blessed Booked and Boneless. Now, when I was about to publish the book, I sent it to a friend, and what she didn't know was that I actually started writing Their Insecurity first. And I was like, I don't want to release two books. So I combined Their Insecurity with Blessed Booked and Boneless. She didn't know this, and when I sent it to her, she said, I'm reading it, but I feel like it's so heavy. I think you should separate it into two books. And for me, that was a confirmation that, hey, put out one before you put out the other. So this summer, I'm releasing the Blessed Booked and Boneless, and it is a personal development guide for women of faith. And again, persons might say, but I stick to my niche because I know it's easier for me to challenge them, because I'm that kind of woman also. So it will be coming out in this summer in August also, and it really talks about how all the questions you're asking, kind of like, how did I get there? Because the truth is, Casey, where how I was brought up, where I'm from, where I am now, you would not know it was possible. You know, like as I said, I grew up sleeping on the ground. I went to bed hungry. There are days that I didn't have, clothes to wear, and my siblings and I had a really rough time. And while education was very helpful to get me where I am, it was more than education. It include networking, it include finding my passion, it includes so many other things. So I want to be able to give back that guy. Like, how did I get blessed and booked and now living this boundless life?
That is all the time we have for you today on The Ready Writer. I want to thank our guest, Crystal Daye, for stopping on by. Thank you, audience, for watching. Have a great day.